Hi everyone, team member Mark Sheeran here. Listen, everybody's been asking why we switched to the Skinner peep sights this year. And there's a whole bunch of reasons. First of all, the owner of Skinner Sights, Andy Lawson, was willing to collaborate with us to build the best ghost sight for tracking on the market. And he took our input and really put it into practice. And the aperture, the ghost ring itself is thinner, so it allows more light in. It's all steel construction. It's got a lifetime warranty, and it's also a very elegant sight. So there are some other features as well. The ghost sight itself is dovetailed into the body of the sight, which makes it really, really sturdy, and it can't fall out of adjustment. And between that and the fact that it's all steel, and the peep sight is optimized for the tracker and the still hunter, it's an amazing sight. So you can go on to bigwoodsbucks.com and get your BWB Tracker Series peep sight today. All right, good luck on the hunt.
This is the Big Woods Bucks podcast. Come explore the big woods and timber in North America with your host, Maine Master Guide and deer tracking expert Hal Blood. Listen to Hal and co-hosts Lee Libby and Joe Cruzy as they unlock the secrets of big woods whitetails. Each episode will provide valuable insights into the tried and true system Hal has used for the last 40 years to scout, locate, and hunt mature big woods bucks. Listen and laugh as the crew discusses Hal's legendary adventures and learn how to apply a lifetime's worth of lessons from the big woods to your own hunting and outdoor adventures.
Welcome to the Big Woods Bucks podcast. I'm your host, Hal Blood, back again down here at Lake Parlin, sitting in the old camp with my co-host, Joe Cruzy.
Hello.
We don't know where the heck Bad Lee is, but we got Good Lee here.
Good morning.
And we also got Old Guide Mike.
Good morning, everybody.
He was going to do a little moose scouting, but he gave up on it, I guess.
Well, I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Too windy anyway, can't hear
that
nothing.
was a crazy morning out there.
So we're going to kick this off with announcing a new partnership we have with Minus 33, socks and gear, merino stuff. And we've got one of the owners, or the owner's son, I guess, or their family business. It's Lawson Glidden. And welcome, Lawson.
Oh, great to be here.
And we don't know a lot about socks. We just wear them, and we like wool socks. So you're going to explain merino and socks and base layers and whatever else we got going on here, and they'll get a better understanding from you than they will us.
Is that stuff important, Hal?
It's important because it's wool.
Well, I'm happy to do it. I can talk about socks and wool for the whole day if you need me to.
No, we'll do it for about 15 minutes. How's that?
That sounds better, actually, yeah.
I'd like to see where it goes all day. I mean, out of curiosity. But
we might get into some particulars if it takes that long.
So Lawson, what's the background of Minus 33? I know I found Minus 33 a couple of years ago before my Alaska trip. I was looking for a beanie hat and a couple other things, and ended up finding your stuff on Amazon and really liked it. So if you could just first, I guess, give us a little background on the company and how it got started.
Well, I guess I'll start from the beginning. So my dad's uncle started a textile mill in Ashley, New Hampshire in 1916. And that ran for about 86 years, and we made big bolts of wool cloth to sell to big companies like JCPenney, and they cut it up and made clothes. And then everyone we sold the wool to moved overseas, and everyone we bought the wool from moved overseas. So we had to close that business down, and we opened up Minus 33 using all of our textile knowledge and our connections across the globe. And we were able to just make a really, really great wool base layer. And we started right there with just a mid-weight wool base layer, and actually Dad had it made just for his hunting buddies, and they kind of told him, hey, I bet you could sell this. So
how long ago was that that you started it? When did the other one close down because of going overseas and all that?
It closed down in 2002, and we started minus 33 in 2002.
Okay.
Yep. So that's the general history, and it kind of grew as just a word of mouth brand. Not a lot of marketing, just trusting the product, and then finally we got big enough where it just makes sense to try and tell people more about merino wool so that they know it's kind of the best thing going for being out in the woods.
So you just started with base layers then, or?
We started with base layers and just kind of kept growing. Now we started, I think the original catalog had 7 or 8 products in it. And the current catalog has, 130 products with, 2,000 different, color or size ways. So it's really just been growing and growing kind of at a pretty good steady clip. But, I think now we're getting a little bit more appeal, and that beanie you said you bought, that thing has just opened up the world for us, because if someone gets a hold of that beanie, they feel how soft and wonderful it is, then they get interested, and then they start learning about merino wool.
So what is the difference between merino wool and regular wool?
The difference really just is in the comfort. So merino wool, I'm going to use the term micron, that's just a measurement, a width. Merino wool is somewhere between 17.5 and 20 microns, and regular wool is just thicker than that. So a thinner fiber, it's like a thread count on your sheets,
I got you.
Thinner is better. It feels softer.
Yep. Okay.
So is merino this might sound stupid, but like the type of sheep, or what is merino?
It is a type of sheep, yeah, and they're mostly raised in Australia because it's a type of sheep and a weather. So it's warm in Australia. The conditions are a little bit harsher, weather-wise, and the sheep, there's a lot of space for them to kind of move around and exist down there. So that's where you get the vast majority of the world's merino wool is straight from Australia.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
So, in the old company, was it just standard wool that everyone's familiar with, and then did you switch over when you started over in 2002?
It was just regular wool that everyone's familiar with until the mid-'90s, and my dad got pretty. We had to compete with globalization, so he got specialized into actually cashmeres and merino wool, but very fine, very soft wools, and cashmere is basically just an even finer version of wool. So,
all right, sounds good.
Big Woods cashmere hunting jackets coming soon.
Yeah,
I didn't say that.
brown and white. All right, so then you got into the sock business later on then.
Yes, we always were making socks. Very early on, we made our first merino wool sock because, the properties of merino wool are just amazing around your feet. The water wicking, the moisture wicking, the warmth it provides, even if it does get a little wet. But we had a lot of problems making a really high quality sock, outsourcing one, really communicating what we were looking for and then getting that. So about 5 years ago, I went out and found some sock making machines that we could run in America, and bought them. Spent a few years trying different things and experimenting, figuring out what a great sock is, and then we just bought really good materials and threw that in there, and now we're making, I think, one of the best socks you can buy right now.
Yeah, I agree. I've been using mine here for a couple of months now because I'd never heard, for some reason, never heard about you either, and you're right there in New Hampshire, kind of ironic, but so yeah.
Is all your stuff made here in the USA?
Not all of it. Most of it's made just across the globe. The socks can be made in America because there's sort of an automated process. There's a lot of computer programming that goes into it, but we can make a complete sock by stringing up yarns, and it'll produce basically a complete sock. With some of these different garments we make, you need to have specialized processes, big machines, and kind of a lot of people who know how to cut and sew garments, which is sort of a lost art here in America. So we just struggle to do it. We are working on making a couple of garments in America, though, but it's a problem also sourcing wool here. Not a lot of merino wool is made in America, and when it is made, it's not as fine. But as far as it goes, it's just the socks for now. I am looking at doing hats and neck eaters soon, though.
Yeah, I see there's a lot of the socks and stuff are made in like the European countries where they've been big on wool and still are, huh?
Mm-hmm. They've had a lot of experience out there. The sock machines we make to make our socks are actually from Italy. A lot of manufacturing experience out there, and we do make a lot of socks in Eastern Europe right now. Those guys are really great. They just it's easy to work with them.
Yeah. Oh, good. All right. So I was a little bit, when I started looking at the catalog to pick some out, it was a hard choice because you got so many different ones. So, they'll label different ways, and you got lightweights and heavyweights and low ones and high ones. And so I think there's something there for everybody, for all activity levels too.
Yeah, the lightweights I'm actually, I just got a few pair of them that I'm going to be using here right off because moose season's getting ready to kick off, and that's a perfect time to try those out, put some miles on them. And
yeah, that's what I picked up when we were down to Huntstock. I got a pair of those lightweights. I'm looking forward to using them during moose season. And going back to the beanies, Joe, I don't know if you guys tell your hunters, but in moose camp, a lot of time it's a remote tent camp, and we tell all of our hunters to bring a beanie because you can't imagine how much difference it makes. Usually the stoves that we have in those tents, the ones that we're using, they'll hold the fire for like 4 or 5 hours maybe, but a lot of times in the morning, unless the guide gets up and stokes a fire for you, the fire's going to be out. And those beanies will make you so much warmer. If you just got a beanie on your head when you're sleeping, you can't believe how much more comfortable and how much better you sleep. So anybody that does remote tent camps, whether it's a moose hunt or a deer hunt, you get yourself one of those minus 33 beanies and you're going to sleep a lot better.
I was told by one of your hunters that you go around and tuck everyone in, Lee.
Well, I do, depending on how they look and how aggressive they are, Joe. I never tucked you in because that week that we spent in camp, I tried to stay on my side of the tent. I was a little nervous.
Yeah, I've been wearing the beanies from way back when we first started deer hunt. We like to froze to death the first couple of years up deer camp there, so... And I wasn't as follically challenged. Now that I'm really follically challenged, a beanie is... I wear it every night in camp.
I do the same thing. I forgot. I do the same thing with my socks. The socks that I've worn during the day, I take those things off and I start my following day by putting them on that night. I like a nice soft pair of wool socks on my feet at night too.
How spoiled are we? Like you think about, I was reading, takes me about 3 or 4 years to get through it, but the one book that I took out about the Alaska hunts, and it was talking about them hunting out there back in the 30s and 40s.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Think about how it was before all this good modern clothing. And
they were tougher than us, that's all.
They were. There's no question.
No doubt. Well, but they always had wool. Everything them hunters wore back then was wool, head to toe, from socks to their hats,
Time tested.
Yeah.
I bet they didn't have merino wool either.
No, they had probably scratchy wool, long underwear, yeah. So, Lawson, explain a little bit about the different product line, if you would, for a minute, because I know there's too much. You got the light, heavyweight base layers and light socks, medium socks, heavy socks, and the different ones, but just a little bit, because people are going to have to go on the website or get a catalog and figure out what's best for them.
And I'll tell you that that's one of the hardest parts of getting into merino wool, and I guess our product line, it's so large that educating people is really important. We are making a sock grid, so to explain this, and we do have some explanations, but just a quick overview is we have basically 4 different weights: micro, lightweight, midweight, and expedition. And that basically, the micro weight you could wear all year long, even in the summer, and it would still be comfortable. And the expedition weight on the other side of that, we'd really only recommend that in the winter if it's cold and you're, if it's very cold and you're moving, or it's somewhat cold and you're not moving. The midweight, very versatile, and you could wear it in the winter. But really, it's all about layering, and I think you guys know that when it comes down to it, it's about how much material you want on your body, and how the conditions are going to change throughout the day. Are you going to go for a 2-mile chase? Well, you're probably going to want something, that you can zip off halfway through just to let off some steam. And if you're just going to be sitting in a stand all day, well, you're probably going to want to be pretty well bundled up, 20 feet in the air through the whipping wind and whatnot. As far as that all goes, I mean, the other hard part is the socks. We have an expedition weight sock, we have midweight socks, but right now the only socks I can make in America are my lightweight, which I've changed the name to All Season on those, mostly because I had a 10-day hike group that hiked above the Arctic Circle in February. They only wore my lightweight over the calf socks, the socks I'm making for you guys. And they said they've never had a better sock for their trip. And I thought to myself, well, I'm calling these socks lightweight, but they can survive 10 days without going inside in the above the circle there. I think I got to change the name.
Yeah, good idea. So Lawson, why are your minus 33 socks better than any other ones?
Well, that's for 2 reasons. One, we put a lot more merino wool in the socks than other people, our competitors, are these days. And 2, it's about the construction, because the most important part about a sock is to have it grip to your foot and reduce overall friction. So our socks are smaller than your foot before you put them on. A lot of people look at our socks and they say, oh, that's not going to fit on my foot. Well, the problem is that if you put on a sock that looks bigger than your foot before you put it on, that means you're going to have extra space in your sock. Extra space means extra friction. Extra friction means extra blisters and extra bad days. And there's nothing worse than being 10 miles out and then starting to feel a hole wear in your sock in a blister form, because you got to get back and you're going to be walking on that bad foot, and it's not going to be very much fun. So our socks are form fitted to your foot, and we learned how to do that the easy way by making them and going hiking in them every day. So we have 3 different stretch zones. The sock itself is very stretchy, and it forms to your foot. And whereas we make a sock that's 68, 70% merino wool, a lot of our top leading competitors are somewhere between 40 and 50%. And that makes all the difference. That's the difference between 5 hours of comfort and a full day or 2 days worth of comfort, where your feet are still dry, they're still comfortable, and they're still still treating you well, good enough for a hike.
So you sell sock liners as well, correct?
We do sell sock liners, yes. Just a very thin sock to go, inside and potentially a bigger sock.
Okay. What is the main purpose of a liner? Is it just for wicking away the moisture to keep the sweat off, or is it just another layer of insulation?
So it's another layer of insulation. It does do well inside another sock because it creates that little buffer of air between the outside of your second sock and that sock there that should hold in a lot of heat and help you wick the moisture away. I would also say that if you're just wearing a liner sock, its primary function is to keep the blisters off, because it'll provide, a little bit of slippage between you and whatever else is there, because it's going to be foiled to your foot, so you're not going to get a blister on your foot. And then the third purpose of a liner is if you've got a really tight boot, a liner can be a lifesaver because you don't want to be cutting off circulation. Your feet don't warm themselves up. You really need that circulation in order to get the heat in there.
Got it.
Yeah, I've always worn sock liners, and to me the same thing. It pulls your moisture away, and then it creates a barrier there, so you don't any little tuft of something in wool in your sock doesn't get irritating you. You don't want to have something like that on your mind, taking your boots off and fiddling with it. I never have to do that. So my combination, Lawson, is going to be which fit in my boot the best, because a lot of it too is how people's feet fit their boots. And I always said that don't buy them too big and stuff a bunch of socks. Buy them the size you need them, so you can put one good pair of socks in a sock liner. So I'm going to be wearing the sock liner with the, I think it's the Expedition weight ones, the Hunter ones, the high ones. So that's the ones I got to.
Your feet normally get cold, Al?
My feet don't get cold, no.
I mean, with Expeditions, that's a.
But you got to remember, he's wearing those lacrosse. He's wearing the Grangers, right. So he has no insulation.
Yeah, there's no insulation. So, but the main reason the Expedition weight for me is because that's what fills my boot the right way, so I don't have no slippage in my boot.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go to a smaller size boot and then cram everything in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just the way I adjust my boots, and it works for me. And if people are wearing leather-type boots, you lace up, it's different because you got padding inside those. But in the Grange boots, there's no insulation. It's just you're slipping them into rubber with a thin liner in it, a slippery liner, and that's it. So what's on your foot's on your foot for insulation.
Yeah.
And that would be our recommendation, too. Make sure the sock you're wearing is filling out your boot, because if you have a bunch of slippage, that's extra friction,
Right.
It's not going to help you during your hike.
Yep. Well, Lawson, that's informative. I learned a lot from it too, because I just, I've had my way. I've done things, but the process and the difference in merino was pretty interesting, and glad to have a partnership with you.
Yeah, I'm really excited to partner up here. I think that the only thing I'm missing here is education, and you guys seem to be really great educators. So I'm really excited for this.
Yep, thanks. We are too, and you're making us some Big Woods Bucks branded socks, I guess, huh?
Yep, I made about 100 of them so far, and the rest of them are coming off. I should be shipping them out to you real soon here.
Can't wait.
We'll get them. Somebody will get them on our website. I don't know if it's Chris or whoever does that, but we'll have them.
Hal just thinks it happens.
Yeah. I just say
it's magic.
Everybody thinks I just say get it done, but that's not really true. Okay, Lawson, have a good day, and thanks for coming on. Yep.
Yeah, you guys have a great one, and thanks for having me on.
Okay.
Take care.
All right. You too. Yeah.
All right. It was pretty informative.
Yeah, you always see that Merino Wool, and I honestly never looked into it at all. I'm sure it's a pretty easy.
Well, I started wearing
the
I call them long johns still. Us old guys do, but they call them base layers now. But I started wearing them, and I don't know what the brand was, to tell you the truth, but I just found them online. I just needed some more long underwear, and I started reading about the Merino Wool, and I'm like, that's probably all right. So I tried them, and I liked them. So that's what I've been wearing for at least 3-4 years anyway. So
I think they're going to be a great partnership with us. I'm pretty excited. Plus, like you said, from New Hampshire, it's nice to keep it in the Northeast.
Yeah, and it's good that we can find good quality stuff for all you listeners out there and all our followers, because sometimes it's hard to find the right stuff, you know what I mean? And if everybody's out there experimenting on their own, and makes it a little more difficult. So if you can get some recommendations where to start. And again, everybody's different with their socks and underwear. They're going to have to figure out their own weight they need, but at least they got a big enough.
Yeah, they got options.
They got plenty of options. I looked at the stuff. I'm like, I don't. Where do you start really? But just start narrowing it down. You know.
I'm all about that knee high.
Yeah, me
I
too.
like them way up on my knee.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean the warmest pair.
Yeah.
You know, I use just regular athletic socks as my second one.
Yep.
You know, and I wear 2 pair no matter what season it is. It can be turkey season. I still wear 2 pair.
Joel said the same thing, and so he got those little ankle socks that you use for sneakers.
He did.
I don't know if I'll do that, but
Because he couldn't get the other ones over his calves.
Well, I was thinking that's how far it was to his knee.
Oh,
Wow, Joel, you just took it hard. I hope you're hearing this podcast, but I wasn't going to say anything about your short legs today, Barney, but Joe just cannot help himself. You poor little ridge runner, you just got blasted again.
So Eric broke the ice last night.
there he did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice buck.
Yeah. Was it an 8 or a 10? I think it's an 8.
Yeah.
We just got a picture. Eric Frigon shot a nice buck with his bow down there in southern Maine where he lives.
Suburbiaville.
Yeah.
Real pretty 8-pointer.
Yeah.
Nice tall ivory rack.
Tells me
Nice buck.
he's going for his Grand Slam again because he got his moose permit 4 years ago, set out his 3 years, got another one. So I guess he's got to work on a bear next, but he don't have much time. But
Oh, what's happened? Oh, moose season's coming, I guess.
yeah, moose season. Yeah, like it's all of a sudden, it's next week is getting camps ready, huh?
Stephen and
Yeah.
I are headed up Saturday because he's doing the bear hunts. So
Yeah.
we're actually we're going to go up Saturday and set up one of the Zone 4 camp. And so I can't
Yeah.
believe it, but 2 or 3
Yeah.
days I'll be setting up moose camp. It's crazy.
Ben was up there this week scouting, and we're going to have to go because of my schedule. I think we're going up Monday and Tuesday to get set up, and then he's going to hang around and scout some more, and then I'm going to go back up probably Friday or Saturday and just stay from then on.
Yeah, I'm going back up. I think my Zone 2 camp, I think I'm going to do Wednesday. So we're going to do the Zone 4 camp on Saturday and the
Yeah.
Zone 4 on Zone 2 on Wednesday. I went up, set up trail cameras up there in Zone 2 and 5 a couple weeks ago. I couldn't believe how much more water there is up there than there is down in central Maine where I live. All the brooks and
Yeah.
streams, everything was
It's
full of water.
It's the same here. I still got some bear bait trails. You slog up through the streams like running down the Skidderut still, even here, because it just below the forks is where the rain didn't get as much. And then I noticed when I go up, if I ride up to Penobscot to work up the lodge there, it's like as soon as I get up there a little bit, you can see all of a sudden it's wetter. Like it's been dry down here maybe for a few days. It ain't rained. I get up there and the roads are wet, the gravel roads. So northern Maine, I think, did get even quite a bit more than we did. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that's a good thing though. We've had some dry years the last couple, and we needed some rain up there.
I think
Yeah.
They just got a bunch more rain, yesterday and the night before last. They got a bunch of rain that we didn't get here.
Yeah, we didn't get as much as they was calling for here, but yeah, they got it up there, and it's good. The water table's up now. I can tell now in the ridges the last 2 years, the little trickles in all the ridges have been dried right up in November, and they're all running now. There's water running where you wouldn't think it'd be running now.
Funny little story about when I went up there 2 weeks ago, down where I live in the Skowhegan area. The day that I left, it was in the 80s. I drove up there, and I knew it was supposed to be cooler even in central Maine the next day, but I didn't even think, being a numbie, I didn't pack anything other than T-shirts and jeans because that's all I've been wearing. I even brought some shorts with me. I got up the next morning up there, it was 39 degrees, and all I had was a T-shirt. I'll tell you what, I was wishing I had some wool that morning. I was cooking my breakfast out on the picnic table, and being a meat cutter, I'm used to being pretty cool, but I thought, geez, if I had a little wool jacket, that would feel pretty good.
That's what they call PPP, ain't it?
Yeah.
It's the other 3 Ps, piss poor planning.
Yeah.
it's showing. I was going to go up early next week too, but it's showing rain Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So
Oh, it is?
Oh,
yeah,
good. Not
I think
on
I'm
Wednesday.
Gonna go. I think I'm going to go Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's good. I want to go up Wednesday because I want to claim my spot, I'm going to do things a little bit different. I got a big camp down there in Zone 4. We got all kinds of hunters, but I'm going solo, and I very rarely use those campsites, but there's some campsites up there that they got the picnic table with the wood canopy over them and an outhouse out in the bushes. So, yeah, I'm going to...
Yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't be giving that up, should I, Joe?
I think everyone knows about it. Yeah.
But
no, it's
makes it convenient.
It's always I've got like 3 spots that I usually use, and I'll go to the first one. If it's taken, go to the next one, and just down the line. And worst case scenario, they're pretty good about finding pits or something to.
Are you going to use the one we used last year?
Depends. Yep, it depends. It's we're going to see what's taken. Actually, Braden and Leah and Dennis are going up this weekend, so they're gonna camp at one of the spots we usually go, and if it's available, we'll probably stay right there. Just leave everything set up. So, but yeah, I was up last Friday. I took a ride up. I just put some cameras out and wanted to look around, see if they'd cut any of the places that I usually go, anything like that. And it was looking good. I mean, a lot of sign, and the last couple of years, you see some sign, but nothing's overwhelming. And hunting season comes around, and there's plenty of moose around, like always. But this year, it looks like they've been pretty active.
Yeah, I talked to Brandon Lane up there in the Allagash, and he said last week, which would be, when you hear this, it'll be the week before, like second week of September, there was already, every bull he saw, the velvet was already gone, and they was tearing the alders up pretty heavy. And when Ben was just up there this past week, he said there was quite a bit of racking, so it's earlier up there. I think it's almost a week earlier than down here.
No doubt. Well, there's no alders getting smashed around here yet. They are losing velvet here.
Yeah,
I've seen one bull completely lost it, but they're sparring. I mean, I found places in the road where they're pushing each other around a little bit here and there, but they haven't shed much velvet here.
Yeah, well, the ones that are pushing each other have, because they won't do that until they get it.
Right.
I mean, at least it's starting to hang off. That's when you see the ones, when they get pushing, when they're still just lost their velvet, you see them poke holes in their palms, that sometimes it's poked right straight through from one of them had harder antlers than the other, But
yeah, it's unbelievable. I had, I've seen evidence of where they've rubbed their velvet off and stuff, of course, being in the woods as much as we are, but last year when I went up, I think it was fairly early. It was like on the 8th. And I had one of my guides with me. I don't even remember who it was. We were driving up a road, and there was enough blood in the road that we saw it. We stopped and thought, geez, somebody must have shot a bear here. Went off the road maybe, 50, 75 yards, found a clump of alders, and the alders were just dripping in blood.
Yeah.
And I said, that must be a really big bull. Because, they always bleed some. But I said, I'll bet you that bull is a big one because there was blood everywhere. And
right.
I'd never seen so much evidence of blood from one before. But those big bulls, when they rub it off, there's a lot of blood.
Hey, Hal here. I want to talk a little bit about our partnership with OnX Hunt. I've been using it for a while now, and if anybody knows me, they know I'm not a very techie person, but the OnX app is it's a real time saver. I remember the days when we poured over topo maps everywhere we was going to go and stuff, and I don't do that quite as much anymore. Where it's really helped me is scouting, whether it's deer scouting, a moose, or even turkey hunting in the spring, which I do. It really helps out. I don't have to spend as much time running around the truck burning up the gas. I'm just basically using my OnX. Got it on my phone. Don't even carry a GPS anymore. So I just download the areas where I'm going to be hunting, whether it's up north moose hunting, and I use it mostly on the satellite imagery. I like to see the cuts and the clearings and the turkey hunting, the hidden fields and stuff. But everybody's using it now, from the game wardens to land surveyors, and just a great tool. And with our partnership with OnX, if you use a code BWB, you're going to receive 20% off on your first premium or elite memberships. And you just go to onxmaps.com, BWB.com/hunt. You'll be glad you did. Good luck on the trail.
Hey, all you listeners out there, here's a great job opportunity for you. Wireless Construction out of Standish, Maine is looking for some new employees. A great 2-decade-old company, and they have opportunities in steel fabrication, civil technician, tower technician, tower welders and fabricators, and outdoor voyages. It's my kind of job. Experience is a plus, but not a requirement, and they have a great benefit package with dental, health, vision, 401k, long and short-term disability, life insurance, paid time off, living expense per diem when applicable, a $300 tool and gear allowance. Geez, I might get a job there by the looks of this. If you have any interest, which I think some of you might, you can contact Darcy Weber at 207-642-5751, or you can email him at employment@wcitowers.com. Hope you get your job.
Yeah, I've only found velvet a few times.
Well, sometimes they eat it.
Yeah.
So you don't always find it. I don't know if it's like a nutritional thing. Like I'm sure it's full of nutrients.
yeah.
It is full.
They eat it after they rub it off.
A lot of the critters eat it too. The other critters eat it fast.
Yeah.
It doesn't hang around in the road. We used to. I can remember way back. You'd find it in the road. I can remember looking at it, going, "What the hell's that?" You know,
Looks like a mink hide.
When we was kids, it was like, "What is that stuff?" Anyway.
Yeah.
I got a pretty cool trail cam. One of the cameras I got set up close by here of a bull. I think it was just
Where's that, Joe?
yesterday.
Where'd
You know exactly where it is. So this bull was in front of the camera for like 10 minutes, and he still had his velvet, but it was coming off and all hanging and bloody and everything. It's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
Not a big one, small bull, but
I ended up.
pretty neat seeing it come off like that.
I got lucky last week. It was a guy. He knew us and he watches some of our stuff. But a little shout out. The guy's name is Dave. He's from Southern Maine, but he had a permit, or one of his buddies had a permit in Zone 2 last year, and this year they don't. They got to be down in a different zone. So the guy actually showed me trail cam pictures of 2 ferocious bulls that they had on trail camera last year. Said, I wouldn't do this for just anybody. He said, but I'll share it with you. And so he showed me. So when I go up next Wednesday, that's the first place I'm going. I'm going to go back down in and see if there's still some evidence. But I thought that was pretty nice of him. And, you run into some good people up in the North Woods. And we had some mutual friends and people that we knew. So I thought that was pretty good of him to do that.
Yeah. Good intel, I guess.
Yeah. Because that doesn't mean they're going to be right there again this year. But he said they'd been there 2 years in a row. But they had the October season last year, and they never end up getting one of those bulls. But everybody knows that October season last year was just brutal.
Yeah.
So
Eric said when he was up there, he told me there was trail cameras everywhere. Every side road and any road, there was cameras everywhere. And
I was going to call Brian. I ran into the same thing. I had 3 or 4 of my honey holes that I always hunt up there. I went to put trail cameras in. There was already trail cameras in. I was like, I wonder if Brian beat me up in here. I don't know if he's got any Zone 2 hunts or not.
I don't know what he's got, but he doesn't the first season. I think he's in 4. I know he's got a couple of 4s, but
Nick's going to be in
5.
They got that
he likes 5. He guided 5 for me last year. That's his favorite zone. He's got.
Oh, I think he had a 4 that he swapped for a 5.
Oh, he did swap. Yeah. I didn't know that.
That's the one Nick's guiding. Yeah. And then I want to say I think Nick said Brian might be in 2. I thought, but maybe I got that wrong. I get all those.
I knew he had 2 4s, but So, anyways,
he's out in Alaska right now. Brian is. He's guiding out there for moose. That's his first moose guiding out there. He's been texting a little bit, and I guess the rain's been just brutal out there. The past couple of months it has, but the whole entire trip they've been pretty much rained on. I don't know how they get around that. How they can even keep a schedule flying when it's socked in like that all the time.
Well, I think they do a lot of flying when it is socked in.
Oh, they do.
They just keep low to the ground.
Oh, man.
That's why you pay those guys the money that you do, because you're putting your life in their hands.
Yeah, you want someone good at it.
Yeah,
but it'd be interesting to hear about his guiding out there when he gets back.
Yeah, and Donnie Vincent's out there too in the same area, and he's pretty much.
He's having a go of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in the same place that Lee and I were in last year, and it's been tough. They haven't seen much at all. They've seen one. The last time that I messaged with them, which was just yesterday, they'd seen one small bull and one cow that came to the call, and it just rained he said it's just nonstop rain, just downpour. And I remember the last night that we were there, and we were waiting to, they were coming to get us the next morning, and it rained for so long and so hard. I remember laying there in the cot going, God, just stop raining.
I was afraid.
There's nothing you can do about it. It's like just.
I was so afraid we were going to have to tear down and our gear was going to get all soaking wet, and just, there's nothing worse than tearing down camp. I hate setting up camp or tearing down in the rain. I was thinking the same thing. God, I hope it stops. I hope it stops.
Well, when you're in it for so long and you can't get out of it, where when you're here, you come inside, and
get
you can't
dried
really
out,
hear it, but when you're in that tent and it's just pounding on the tent for hours, and then the next day it was beautiful.
Yeah.
The sun broke out and it was great. But yeah, it's I can't imagine, we had some wet weather while we were there, but it's been.
Looking back on it now, do you have any regrets? I remember we get up the next morning, we get out the binos, look down at my moose carcass, and I don't know how big that bear was, at least 500.
I should have shot the bear.
Yeah, he was still on that, and I remember you thinking, I ought to shoot that bear. We were gonna leave that day at noontime, and he said, then if I have to shoot him, we got to skin him out and do all that. But I can remember you showed me pictures. It looked good on the camera, but you put that thing on the computer, that looked like a big bear, didn't it?
Oh, it was. Yeah, I should have, and not just because it was such a good bear. And I've got the tag, because the way it works there is if you can shoot something of a quote unquote lesser value out there. So a moose tag is worth more than a bear. So if you want to trade your moose tag in for a bear, you can do that, for a black bear anyway. Not browns. But anyway, I watched him and videoed him, and Lee got picked up, and I'm waiting for him to come back and get me, and I'm the whole time, and then I get in the plane and we take off, and I pointed out to Jeremy, the bear down there on the carcass, and he said, "Why didn't you kill him?" I don't know. I didn't want to mess with it. Do you know how many moose that bear is going to eat? And I was just, I had so much, from that point on, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Never consider it. But yeah, when you read about predation and everything with bears, and they're worse than coyotes, really.
Yeah.
I don't know as I'll ever see a bigger black bear. It was crazy big. It was a beauty.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
I bet Donnie's going to be happy to get back here and hunt here. It probably won't be as rainy.
I'm guessing he will, yeah.
Don't jinx him, Al.
I know.
Don't jinx me either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a forecast, which forecasts are good about 2 days out, I think. But they're calling for cooler and wetter going into moose season, which I'll take.
Yeah.
Right.
Hot and dry, not good.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Well, I've had been 2 or 3 people send me messages or emails or something about if we talked a little bit about scouting for moose here before the season. So we can do that just a little bit and then give some deer updates and stuff. But I've always told people, and we know from way back, that the second hunt is a different hunt than the first hunt. You gotta do things a lot different. And then the other thing is, if you got a moose tag for the second hunt, if you're out scouting now, the moose might be dead by the time you go to hunt it. So it really, you can look for areas where there is good sign and stuff, but just be mindful that, the sign you see might be from a dead moose by the time you get to your second season, if there's 2 seasons in that zone. That being said, there's only those more northern zones that have the 2 seasons, but so
going back to what we said the last time I did a podcast, we were talking about trail cameras for deer season, but it's the same way for moose season. Now everybody, I think I booked 9 hunts this year, and half of them have called me in the last week, and they want to know, got good trail cam pictures and all this. And I tell people, don't get all shook up about the trail cam pictures. I said, we put them out so that we can show you pictures. It's a good indication of the moose that are in the area. But in some way, it's become a curse when you're a guide because people are all jacked up about those trail cam pictures. And to me, I wish, like I said, all it is for me is an indication of the moose in the area. But and the other thing is, if you've had them out for a month, that moose might not be anywhere near on opening day where you had trail cam pictures of him a month
especially
before.
the first season. If you go put trail cameras out a couple weeks before the season and you get a good bull on a camera somewhere, he could be 5 miles from there the time the season comes. You get his nose in the air and he's looking for that cow, and it may not be a cow that's right there. So I think, and I've said it about everything from bear to deer to moose and everything, it's just use it for fun, but don't plan your hunt around killing a particular bull, a particular deer, or anything with these trail cameras up in this country. No, I know it's different when you get down into the southern parts where you can pattern deer more, but up here, forget about it. Sometimes I think more times than not, it'll make you make the wrong decision than the right one, because you might stick around and hunt a spot for 3 or 4 days for that particular moose you saw, and he just isn't there, Whereas if you didn't see that moose, you wouldn't hunt that many days. You might hunt a day and try something else the next day, You only got 6 days, so.
Well, you bring out a good point, is that, I think the younger generation they think the electronic thing is teaching them more than what it really is, They really do. And it's boots on the ground and alders and,
woodsmanship.
Feeding there. That's what scouting. I mean, that's where you can make a decision. Do I want to hunt here? Maybe I don't want to. Maybe that bull's gone. Like Hal said, maybe he's dead. But people, these cameras, I mean, I think it's more in bears now. These guys get these bear cameras out. Oh, this guy's on my hit list. This guy is a 400-pounder. You ain't going to see that 400-pounder during base season. You get better off. You might see Elvis before you see, So
yeah.
It's.
I've had better luck, actually, and you guys would probably back it up. I don't put a lot of stock in anything until like just a couple days before the hunt.
Right.
We almost never kill a really big bull that we have on trail camera. Almost never happens. Now, some people might get lucky and say, well, we've done it a bunch of times, but we've rarely done it. But I've had a lot better luck when we go up and do our scouting, like the last couple of days just before the hunt. Like if on Saturday when you go out and check your trail cameras or whatever, and you just glom on to a big bull, and then that's where I might hunt Monday morning. But, they're more likely to be in the place that you've seen them a day or two before than they are, on a trail cam picture from a month before.
Even what you learned the year before, and maybe you shot one 2 years ago, you still got to. That you carry that information with you from year to year. I mean, those are good places, If the big bulls like to be there, and then okay, I'm going to go there and check it out. And
you can almost see some of them. Some of the sign you'll see is like a certain clump of alders, and it gets racked every year.
Yeah,
there's broken
exactly.
stubs at the ground, and it grows back. And now that's a good spot, right? Because there's bulls there every year. You can see a lot of random alder rubs, just on an alder, and you look and it's never been hit before. Well, that's okay. You can almost relate it to a difference between a signpost rub and a regular rub, So I always look for them crushed down alders that have been smashed to the ground, and the dead ones from the years before are laying there on the ground. That's a spot that they get to,
Maybe something we should touch on. Like in your honey hole, you're going to go in the same basic area, but of all the bulls that you've killed up there, how many of them did you kill in the same spot? I bet you they've been random spots all over that general area.
Yeah, some of them have been fairly close, but there's not one spot like where I would go and necessarily sit there and wait around thinking there's going to be a bull right here. You know? It's you got to go in there and hunt. That's what I do. I call it running and gunning, like turkey hunting. And even from the morning, I don't go, and it's probably my nature that I don't have any patience, but I don't set up in the morning. I just start walking and calling, and I'll call at least every 100 yards. And you can relate it so much to turkey hunting if you do turkey hunt, because you may not get a response, but as you're moving along, you may not get the distant response, but as you get closer, they get more excited. Like a bull might think, or a turkey might think, hey, that cow's getting closer to me, and then it kind of almost like triggers a response,
Or he didn't respond, and you're getting further, and now he wants to make sure that you don't walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah, or closer.
Yeah.
That walking, and like Hal said, I mean, that you might move a bull a half a mile in that you wouldn't have moved if you didn't walk. But once you got closer to him, or maybe further, I mean, if he thinks he's losing the cow, I mean, that walking thing, don't go in and sit down and think you're going to call one in. I mean, you will, you might, but you got to move all the time.
Yeah, if you sit there, I mean, a lot of people hunt that way, but you got to have the patience for it. Because there are bulls, if they're moving along, you might be sitting there and there ain't a bull within earshot, but 2 hours later, one just happened to be traveling by a few hundred yards away and hears you and come in. If that's your way of hunting and maybe there's people that can't get around as good, that's a good strategy. But you're gonna get more responses if you walk, because you're gonna eventually find one that wants to play the game. And
the other thing too, though, is everybody's different. I will say this: Stephen, my boy, is a crazy good moose guy, but he hunts different than we do, and not always, but he's patient, and if he's in an area that he knows there's a lot of moose sign, his hearing is so good that he's more likely to stay in one spot, because if a moose is a mile away and grunts, he's going to hear it.
Yeah. So that's the thing, because a moose,
you got to be able to communicate.
You got to be able to hear it, and then different days of weather, if there's wind, of course, you ain't going to hear it very far anyway, but even on a calm day, a grunt isn't like a cow call. You don't necessarily hear that. I've actually seen a lot of bulls. You guys have too. You're looking at the moose and you see it. You're looking at the bull and his mouth's moving, but you can't hear it, and he's only 100 yards away.
So I was just actually thinking about that, thinking back to in something we learned, and we talked about it after Alaska last year, but something we learned, because out there it's different. You're glassing, and a lot of times you're spotting the moose before you're calling. And so you can see their reaction when you call, number one. Sometimes they just don't care and they just keep on walking. But there was one that Lee heard. He heard it before we saw it. At 500 yards, he heard it grunt. And I mean, I'm famously known for not having hearing, so obviously I didn't hear it. But I couldn't believe that you had to have binoculars to get a good look at this thing. It's so far off, and Lee heard it grunt. I mean, I remember we were sitting there talking, and all of a sudden he pops his head up and looks, and that bull was right there walking. I mean, you'd never think that. You'd never think. I mean, just
yeah. And
how do you hear that at 500 yards? Because if you stood out there at 500 yards, you're not going to hear that. You can't make a grunt that we would hear at 500 yards. But a bull, it's the air in their
resonates
in their chest cavity.
I don't know if you remember, Joe, but that one that was, I think we figured he was more like 750. That one that came in from the right, I could hear him grunting out at that far.
Could you?
But Stephen, and as good as my hearing is, as I've gotten older, it's not as good as it used to be. But I used to be just like Stephen when I was his age, but he hears them now that I don't hear them. And all the time when the clients are with him, because they don't realize how good his hearing is, on more than one occasion, he'll say, "Can you guys hear that bull grunting?" And they don't hear anything, and he'll hear one whisper to the other guy, "That kid's full of shit." And he hears that too. And that's what I'm saying. If they're coming, now he's not going to stay in the same spot if the moose isn't getting closer. But if he's got one coming on a rope, I've seen him stay in a spot before for a long time, and the bull will come and come and come.
Oh,
and
yeah,
when
yeah.
he shows up,
I'll do that once I get one coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stay there. I try to figure out maybe move a little bit to get the right setup, from the direction he's coming.
Because it's a sound that there's no other sound in the woods that sounds like that. So that's another, why you pick it up on, huh? But yeah, those young ears, I like having them young guys with me, especially now that we're older, huh? Yeah. Because, those young ears can hear a long ways away, man.
One of the things that you touched on too, Hal, because you've done a lot of in turkey hunting, I've never seen anybody that's as impatient as you. I mean, you're basically running through the woods. But the same thing with the moose is you use what works for you, but also remember that some of those old bulls are just like some of them old turkeys. They don't make a lot of noise. And sometimes when you're running and gunning, I've done it on moose season before. If I'm impatient, I haven't heard anything or seen anything, you're calling and you haven't heard anything, and my hearing's great. And then all of a sudden, bang, the bull's right there. Because some of those old bulls, they're suspicious, and if they've been hunted and chased around before, they might come in silent, just like some of those old gobblers do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of them like that. All of a sudden, it's like, ooh, he's right there, and it's almost like you think you should see him. It's so close, you know.
Instead of hearing the grunt, you hear a crack, and he's right there. He's stepped on something in front of you.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's the kind of the first season deal is to, you know, don't get wrapped up in scouting, you know, way ahead, you know. It's fun to put the cameras and stuff, but just recognize if you got a picture of a bull on a camera 2 weeks before the season, don't plan on it, you know, being there. If you got one on camera the day or two before, maybe he's going to be around. But even then, they walk. Their stride is so long, they can walk 5 miles an hour easy and probably more, and they can hear them cows for miles. So all he's got to do is hear a cow a couple of miles away, and he's out of there, you know, and he ain't coming back. He might. It's like the old bucks when they're rutting, you know. They go from one doe to the next. They're not getting back to any particular place for anything. And then the second season, when we get into that, you're more likely to you get a bull located. Then he's probably going to be not too far from there because they're getting, you know, it skips a week. So now our second season is basically pretty much out of the rut. There's a few straggling cows around, but them bulls are tired and they're trying to rest and feed. And if you can locate one of them, you know, a couple days before the season, I bet he's not going to be very far from there at all.
But one thing we might want to point out is, like, we're telling you, you know, you're scouting too early sometimes, you know, but you want to go learn the area too. I mean, you know, we aren't saying just because the bulls aren't rutting, don't go there and scout. You got to know your roads. You got to, you know, there might be a new cut here that wasn't there last year, that kind of stuff. So that part of the scouting, yeah, that's very important. But if you want action and you want to hear the bulls, you got to get there, just like Lee said, 2 or 3 days before the season, and things are really going on by then, huh?
Donnie's ears must be burning. He just sent a text, said they almost killed a giant last night.
Oh,
nice.
Oh, no
Things
kidding.
turned around, so hopefully they'll get it today. Today's their last day hunting, I think, so.
Yeah.
I saw your eyes light up, and you were excited to spit something out.
Yeah, we're pulling for him. You know, I hope he does good there. Anytime you endure something like that, it's always a great story after to go through the weather and everything, and then
paying the price.
But that second season too. Another thing is that I have better luck getting close to them before I call or before I rack. Get right in the living room, like Hal says. They might be hanging in an area a little more because, you know, they're in 3 weeks into chasing cows by then. They're getting a little tired, and they're getting a little tired of little guys spying, you know, chasing little guys away. So I always try to get right in the living room before I start calling that second season. Sometimes the second season, like Hal, I think we discovered we're better off rack and brush than we are cow calling sometimes.
The cow response the second season here it's like, I would say, at least 10 times less than the first season.
Yeah.
You know, you got to go get by a lot of bulls before you can get one to respond.
when I first started messing around with calling moose, I never cow called. Didn't know how to, didn't try it. All I did was grunt and rake. And bulls came in all the time. Now, the population was different then, so could have been, part of the issue. But last year, first season up in Zone 4, we killed one open in the morning cow call. And so it's time and place and bull and weather and everything.
Yeah, the one we killed the second season, the one we carried out.
Yep.
That bull was a long ways away when I started him. I mean, a long ways away. And he came, it was probably an hour to dark, and it took him all that time to even get near us. And but that was a freak thing for second season to call one. I mean, I know he was where Eric took a picture of that big monster bull. Remember that last year? That's where that bull came from.
But that was weeks before. That was like...
Yeah, but he came from there, way down in that valley. Excuse me. Got away from things here. But anyway, he came from that valley and came all the way up that hill from...
Yeah, you get one like that sometimes, but...
Yeah, that was
usually you got to go and fool around with them and get them to...
I told my hunters when I could finally hear that bull, I really never thought he'd come all that distance that late in the season.
And it was almost dark too. You were getting real close. Didn't he shoot that like just minutes before?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, right at the last gong. I mean, you know,
it should help this year. The season is a little bit earlier because it's always easy for me to remember because my anniversary's on the 15th, and it usually falls in the middle of the week. This year, the 15th, it's the last day. Saturday's the 15th, so the moose season's about as early as it gets this year, and that'll help us by 3 or 4 days. That'll be nice. The other thing, I don't know if you thought about it, Joe, because I got the majority of my hunts are in Zone 4 this year, but it'll be interesting to see now that they've got that expanded cow hunt, and even though I think they gave out 550 permits and they only killed like 250 cows, whatever it was a low success rate, but still it's going to be interesting the next couple of years to see if killing those extra cows, if it's going to make the bulls easier to hunt, because they're going to get the ratio down. I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to affect it the next couple of years.
I kind of think it will because you're not affecting the bull numbers
Good
at
point.
all.
Good point.
I think, and that was something last year when they started, everyone was worried about it. We talked about that less cows mean they're going to come running. I mean,
right.
Logic would tell you that anyway. We'll see.
And we also touched on it, but they're definitely, I thought the tick problem was getting better, but the cows that we killed the last week of October, they were completely covered with ticks, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of them. So, yeah, the problem's definitely not over.
Yeah. Well, all right.
We've got a little firearm there that we're.
Oh yeah. Geez, we
need to talk about.
Forgetting here. Well, we got to swerve back out of moose hunting now.
This is a moose gun, right?
Yeah, right.
I think we're calling it the rabbit tracker. That's what they sent me when I got my text. It was a rabbit tracker.
Yeah, so it's what it is we're in a partnership with Skinner Sights and making a Henry Classic lever action 22. Nice little gun. It's got an 18.5-inch barrel. I think the overall length is like 36.5. Weighs 5 1/4 pounds. Just a nice little light gun. 14-inch on the length of pole, I think is what the number was. But walnut stock, comes with the Skinner sight on it, the custom Skinner sight with the Big Woods Bucks logo engraved on it on the sight and receiver. We're only doing 100 of these. So
Andy at Skinner is actually the one doing the work on it. He does beautiful work. So he's done the engraving and the sights and all of that.
And Gamble's Hardware out there is the FFL that makes it possible for us to do this.
The other thing is the scabbards. Andy's company makes those. They call it a scabbard, but it's really a gun case. But it isn't like a zip-up one. You slide your gun down in, and then it
more like a sheath.
Really. Yeah. Then you fold the butt over it. But he's made nice green ones with the Big Woods logo on it to go with them. So
they're nice. He gave me one this spring when he stayed up at the camp there with us. He gave me one of those, and they're nice quality.
Yeah, they're $675 plus shipping.
One of 100. Don't forget that.
Yep. And we announced this, I think, yesterday or the day before, and I think they're about a third gone.
More.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think right now when this comes out Monday, it's going to be, I'm sure, beyond the halfway point, well beyond it. So if you don't see it on Facebook and you're just seeing this and you wanted one of those, you're going to have to call Chris as quickly as you can to get one, because when they're gone, they're gone.
Snooze, you lose on this one.
Yeah. So if you're interested in and you want to get one of those guns, you can call Chris at 207-614-9021. extension 404. And you can get that ordered. And I think they're going to be shipping right off, right?
Yep. They're going to be, it's going to, Andy said Andy had to go. He's on a trip somewhere for a week, but they're basically pretty much done. But he said to give them he said if we put an October 15th date on it, there's no way it'll be beyond that, and it'll be before that. So if you figure October 15th, if you bought one, it's going to be shipped by then.
This is not a deal like the last ones. These guns are coming.
Right. Yeah, because they're already
made.
Yeah.
We have control of it. Henry sent the guns to Andy. Andy did the work, and that's it. They're going to the FFL out there, and they'll be shipped right to your FL.
They're really nice guns. Everybody knows I'm pretty fussy about my guns, and I've seen them. They're nice, really nice.
Yeah, I've got a Magnum in that model gun that I love. I've had it for a long time.
Yeah,
really like it. So
the reason we call it the Rabbit Tracker was I just happened to mention something when I think Mark was the one getting it together, and I go, yeah, that's how I started learning how to track. I said me and a couple buddies would take our 22s and track rabbits around each other, and so we call that the Rabbit Tracker.
I mean, hey, it's good practice, man.
Yeah,
you can use your peep sight and
we didn't have peeps back then, but we killed a few rabbits anyway.
So the minus 33 socks will be available on our website the latter part of next week.
I guess. Better give an update on the packs. We had a little snafu on the packs. I know I've had a couple guys get a hold of me because they ordered them at Hunt Stock, and there was a hang up on the buckle, getting the buckle, but they're on the way. So all they got to do is the packs are made. They got to put the buckles on them, and we'll have them pretty much any day now. And they've started on the jackets, and we had a little snafu on those because we didn't realize that every size takes a different length zipper. Who would have thought that? But yeah, I guess if you think logically, it does. So
makes sense.
So we're making sizes from medium through, I think, even a few 3X, and the front jacket zipper is a different length. But there was a little hang up in them, but they're on the way too. But they said it's not as big of a deal because they can build the jackets and just put the zippers in afterwards. It isn't like they got to not build anything until they get that zipper, right? It's just the front outside zipper. So those those will probably start being shipped hopefully about the same time them Rabbit Trackers, the middle of October, and
I need a new one. Mine's getting pretty brittle.
Yeah. And then the pants, I guess we're not going to probably, I mean, that's the next project, and so it doesn't look like we're going to have pants before hunting season. So I don't know. I mean, maybe, but it doesn't, just by the time frame of what I'm seeing. I don't want to say we're not, but I just won't have people get their hopes up that they'll have them lighter weight pants. So
just so everybody knows, and we've discussed this a lot of times, but I'm sure people get, anxious and nervous and then disappointed when they don't get the stuff. But trust us, we want it too. If we could get it any quicker, we could.
Well, I was just thinking that, when things are in your control and you got to get a job done, you can do it. You know, when they're out of your control and you're relying on other people, as a lot of people know, we see a lot of it going on right now.
Yeah,
in our world around us, but relying on other people, and when it's out of your control, I mean, the Remington thing, the wool thing, I mean, it's frustrating.
Yeah, but the good news is on this, because this was like starting a whole new project with these jackets. Isn't like, and we didn't get no help from Silent Predator. We couldn't get the patterns from them, so they had to make their own patterns. We had to pay for that. But anyways, now that we got through the process and know everything we need, we'll have the coats, and we won't let them get to zero or the packs before we reorder them. So we got control of it a little bit now, and
for sure, yeah.
And it's going to be better because we're going to stock things. Before, we couldn't stock things with Silent Predator. We could barely get enough on orders, and they were dragging them out for 6 and sometimes 8 weeks. Now when you order something, it's going to get put in the mail, within a couple of days.
Yeah, I mean the big difference is the supplier that we're working, the deal that we're working now is not because of lack of effort or anything else. It's just the timing that Chris found them and the work that's involved to get it ready. But
right.
But the past deal was incompetence in the company.
We're lucky it's moving as fast as it is. Really, it's going along good
in this day and age. And again, I think they're going to we was waiting on the new website, which just come out. That's another thing we could mention. We just launched that website, 2 days ago or something?
Yep.
A couple days ago, we got the new website. We actually was kind of waiting on that a little bit because the way you have to put things up, it didn't make any sense to throw it on the old one and then have to change it to the new one because there's different, techie functions in there. But so there'll be pre-orders on those jackets, I would think, any time now. I'm pretty sure there'll be any time. I still don't know the exact price, but Chris is working on that with the stitching people, so we'll get that pretty much immediately and get that rolling.
Shout out to Brian Connor, who's doing our social media. Man, he's doing a heck of a job.
Yeah, he is.
Our YouTube numbers are now almost at 23,000 subscribers, so we appreciate everyone.
Hal's Montana buck comes out tomorrow.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Yep. The trailer's in there now,
I didn't see it. I looked. I wanted to look at what was on there. I go on there periodically to see what's got posted, and I see there was the thing with me and Larry there when Chris filmed us telling stories over there. So, and then he's going to we've held back some stuff for the new site, and that's going to go on now, which is timely before hunting season. All my films that were in the club will now get launched. I think he's going to throw one on every 2 weeks, right straight ahead. The map and compass course we filmed this spring is going to get on there pretty quick. But just a bunch of stuff we've had, and he'll push it out. So there's going to be a lot more content.
'Tis the season
coming up. Yeah,
things are rocking and rolling now.
Got to get everybody revved up.
My neck swelled up this morning when I was out there scouting.
Yeah,
I started rubbing an alder.
I thought you smelled different too, Mike.
I do. I know I do.
Yeah.
I thought that. My wife went to work early this morning. I think that's why she did that.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to give a shout out to Cam. Got engaged the other day. My son Cam,
Congrats, Cam.
Yeah,
all right.
second generation Big Woods Bucks with Steven and all them guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got engaged to a nice Italian girl.
So we'll have a third generation coming along here probably, huh?
I don't think it'll be too long.
That's right. She's an Italian girl. It won't be too long.
Yeah. And all their girlfriends have got kids, so.
Yeah.
How that goes. But anyway, congratulations to them on that one.
Yeah,
for sure.
And
awesome.
she's an understanding lady like we all have at our houses. I mean, she gave his birthday party a month before his birthday because it was hunting season when his birthday came.
It's a good woman right there.
Yeah.
That's a good woman. If you young guys out there are looking for a woman, she don't got no sisters, but she's got friends.
Yeah. I knew when I met her there, and I was talking to her a little bit, and Cam was talking about how good she cooks all the time. I go, yeah, you better hang on to that one, because there ain't a lot of them that do cook much this time nowadays. It's kind of a dying art, I think.
I know that the four of us at this table are blessed with that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we don't have to miss many meals.
No.
The thing was this is his birthday's in August, huh? So I'm sitting there going, what has he told her that he hunts in August, right?
Yeah.
Because, she don't know, right? So I said, Cam, what'd you tell her? He goes, I think we're going crow hunting that week, aren't we? I go, yeah, whatever.
It's bait season.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, I got one more little announcement about deer. I just had a guy email, and he had to cancel his guided deer hunt the first week. So I had filled everything else, and now I have a guided deer hunt available the first week. It's actually with Steven. It was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we'll get that filled up. So there's probably someone listening that might want that. All right. So anyways, there's something going to be open. I'll check on it. I guess that's about it for now. We don't have anything else to.
That was a good one.
Next one should be next one's going to be following Moose Week, so that's going to be a recap on.
Yeah, and then we got to tell some deer stories too.
Where are we going to get those?
I don't know. We don't have any. Have to get Garnett on again.
Oh, gee.
Yeah. Oh, everyone loves Garnett, man.
I want to be here. He and I have got some caucus, you know.
Oh, you're always included.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
well.
always. Oh, yeah. Mike always comes up. I don't know if you're going to like it or not. But
I think he did say there was one story he wasn't going to tell unless Mikey was around.
That's right. Mikey had to be here to defend himself.
Well, and I'm learning from these stories. I'm learning about all the stuff I never found out about when they was guiding for me.
Yeah.
There's some of
And
that
I'm sure
stuff.
you're not hearing all of it.
Yeah, I know.
No,
There's some stuff cropping up all of a sudden.
And you wondered why every Sunday you were working on vehicles, probably.
Did you tell the one about us towing the truck up over Owl's Head?
Yeah, he talked about that one. And then you left the moose hunters in the truck and went down to the bar and had a drink.
Yeah, we might
with
have done
Pops.
That. Yeah, well, I knew. Well, I had to find Pops bad that day. I had no clutch. I had nothing, and I'm trying to get back. And I said, "Geez, I got to find Pops and Garnett." So I went to the local.
Pops is Hal's dad.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. Hal's dad was Pops
Rest
to
in
everybody.
peace.
But yeah, so I went to the local pub there, and they were both right there on the same stools. I'd left them about 3 weeks ago before that. So.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
The good old days.
All right.
Hey, I heard a good guides joke. Have we got time for
Oh, yeah.
a good
We got
guides
time.
joke?
Yeah.
Okay, this guy, he was
Is it about a good guide, or is it?
Oh, yeah, he's a good guide.
Just so you folks know, Lee just puffed all up and got all ready for this one.
No, but I've been in this situation before. It's not dirty or anything. It's a nice, clean joke. Because I don't tell dirty jokes. You guys know that. I'm good, Lee. So anyway, this guy, he took out a doctor and a lawyer. He took them bird hunting, and they all had their expensive shotguns, and they were telling him about what great, skeet shooters they were and all of that. So all day long, he was putting birds up in front of them, and they were shooting and missing. Pretty frustrating day. So that night around the campfire, the doctor, he was drinking his $1,000 bottle of wine out of his champagne glass, and when he was all done, he threw it up in the air and shot it out of the air with a shotgun. So the lawyer, not to be outdone, he took his last sniff of bourbon out of his fancy snifter and threw that up in the air and shot that. So then the guide, he opened up a can of Pabst Blue Ribbon, took a drink, slowly raised his shotgun, shot the doctor, and then shot the lawyer and said, "Man, it don't get any better than this." That won't happen at our camp, but
Yeah.
Not yet, anyway. Huh?
Sometimes you think about it, probably, but. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, and
All the moose hunters out there, good luck on your
yeah,
Yeah,
hunts.
good luck to
good
everybody.
luck on your first hunt there, and hit subscribe if you want to see some of them new YouTube videos coming out. If you're not already on there,
Hit the new website.
the new website,
Get in there
check
and
it
look
out.
at that. A lot of new stuff coming in there, too, Brian told me. He's going to stuff it with some articles we wrote and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That's one thing that's holding back, too. But, yep, then check out your Minus 33 and our other sponsors, and you get ready for deer season. Until next time, good luck on the trail.
Hi, everyone. This is Big Woods Bucks team member Mark Sheeran. A lot of you know that I've been working with addicts and alcoholics now for the last 32 years. And one of the things that we just developed, which is very exciting, is the Freedom Model online program. And this program makes it so that you can learn the entire Freedom Model curriculum, all 470 pages of it, through pre-recorded video tutorials that myself and Michelle Dunbar, the other co-author of the Freedom Model, built for you. So you'll be able to learn the entire curriculum, how to get over an addiction without AA meetings, without rehab, without endless therapies, without recovery, and you can move on from this problem for good. If you want more information about this, go to online.thefreedommodel.org. That's online.thefreedommodel.org, or call 888-424-2626. And if you want that program for 50% off, use code BWB22. That's BWB22. So go to that address, hit the Enroll Now button, use that coupon code, and you'll have a program for the rest of your life. You can use it anytime you want. You'll get all updates. It's a one-time fee, and it's very affordable. And you'll get it for 50% off. BWB22. All right, everybody. Take care.
Hey guys, Joe here. Wanted to take a few minutes to talk about Lake Parlin Lodge. We're a 4-season lodge located just south of Jackman. We've got cabins, lodge rooms, mini lodge. We're a big snowmobile destination in the winter, full restaurant, bar, all the amenities that you need for your trip. Open obviously through the summer, right on the lake. Kayaks, canoes, all included with the cabin. We also do a lot of weddings, so if you're looking for a destination wedding, we can do a wedding up to 200 people. And, of course, we've got our hunting season, moose season, deer season. So check us out. We're at lakeparlinlodge.com.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Till next time, good luck on the trail.